Hello guys, so we are now in Dubai and here with you Anna Tutova, co-founder of Coins Telegram, and our guest Reddy, who is co-founder and chief architect of Rubik's network, its Layer 1 blockchain. So great to have you here, Kissy.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So can you tell us about your background and how did you discover crypto and blockchain first? How did you get into industry?
My background is I'm a computer science engineer, and also I ran hedge funds investing in technology companies. So the dual background in finance, economics, as well as tech helped me to appreciate the potential of crypto significantly. I'm also founder of a cybersecurity company where we worked with cryptography-based solutions quite a lot, and so uh, understood the power of cryptography in general, and when you mix it with what could happen, the changes in the financial services space or money or commerce, the potential is immense, and that's how we started Rubix, working in it 6 years ago.
So what year was it when you discovered Bitcoin first?
Um, Strangely, it was in 2013, and I wish we started working on Rubik's much earlier. It was to basically mine Bitcoin. We were working on Xilinx processor-based communication security solutions for our clients. Bitcoin investors or miners approached us, can you help us build a mining rig based on the Xilinx processors, programmable logic. That was the first time we toyed with it, but not from an investment perspective, but from building the mining equipment perspective. And again, we didn't do much at that time. It was in 17 when we started looking at not just Bitcoin, but the entire concept of P2P, decentralized networks, blockchains, to change a whole lot of things.
And back then, when you discovered Bitcoin first in 2013, did you get the idea straight away, or was it more just an experiment for you, or it didn't make sense?
Well, actually, it made sense, but we didn't go much deeper into that because we were busy building, uh, you know, um, enterprise security solutions based on cryptography. So we were quite deep into that work. So even though I had a background in financial services, I ran hedge funds, tech hedge funds. I wish we went much deeper at that time itself. But our real discovery was later, around 2017.
Yeah, and as well, so you're building a layer 1 blockchain and you pioneered proof of pledge. So can you explain more about this? And as well, you claim that you have zero fees for the network. So how does it work and how are you different from a lot of other existing layer 1s and layer 2 chains?
Yeah, no, I think absolutely. So we looked at a lot of protocols, right from 17 when we started interacted with a whole lot of other protocols, teams from other protocols. And we came to a conclusion that you need to build tokenized blockchains, public blockchains. So we felt that permission or private blockchains is kind of an oxymoron. So we're not going to work on that. So we were absolutely clear that it has to be crypto or tokenized blockchains to bring the real benefits of decentralized networks. Having decided on that, we've come to a conclusion that what works for Bitcoin does not work for blockchains that want to be building applications, data-rich applications, applications that require significant scale and lower costs. And that's because basically a monolithic ledger, monolithic chain like Bitcoin has a very defined purpose, and they've done an excellent job for over the last 15, 16 years in securing that network. Uh, but when you really want to disrupt industries like healthcare, commerce, payments, data, which is a huge application, by the way, for blockchains we've discovered. When you really want to onboard these rich data applications, the monolithic architecture, which works well for Bitcoin, we figured out doesn't work. So we need to think different ways of achieving the peer-to-peer networks. There were others which tried to do that. We were not the first ones to experiment with that. You had IOTA, you had Hedera Hashgraph, and you had few other protocols. IOTA was, of course, in the top 10 at that time. But I think, even though their approach was correct, they were a bit early in the evolution and probably made one or two technical choices which affected their journey. But I think, that's where we ended. So we're a Merkle DAG-based protocol. Proof of pledge is a variation of proof of stake. Essentially, we are maximally sharded horizontally, which means that you can scale unlimited horizontally, which is very important, whereas most other popular blockchains are scaling vertically. And this is why, and then there's a few interesting concepts we've come up with, like bring your own block space. Block space should not be limited and should not be at premium. And so because we have the subnets, and by the way, we were the first to work on subnets concept right from the word go. We've also coined the object chain right from the beginning. Protocols like SUI are doing well with the object approach right now, object-based architecture, but we basically approached it differently. And therefore, Rubix is aligned with app developers. App developers have the flexibility to price their products, which they don't have in other blockchains. And so you can have zero transaction fees because you're aligned with your existing pricing models, the Web2 pricing model. So it's much easier for Web2 applications to onboard to Rubix.
Yes, that's great. And as well, you talk a lot about tokenization. So can you tell more? How do you work with enterprises, which seem to be your core customers? And as well, what are the benefits for them in tokenization, and which industries are disrupted the most by tokenization?
Yeah, and I think tokenization, as you know, is gaining wider acceptance now, and it looks like we're off to a great start this year on that aspect. The leaders like BlackRock's Larry Fink are talking about everything will be tokenized. It's great to hear these things. But essentially, our sweet spot is Web2 apps, which already have large user bases, enterprises, adopting public blockchain like Rubik instead of building on permissioned private blockchains. That is the moat we're working on, and that's huge. Okay, how do you convince a Web2 app like Uber, with already very large user base, improve their economics by switching to a peer-to-peer network? And if you're able to do that, that's a win-win. You don't need to spend a lot of money in acquiring clients. We're working with YMCA, which is a $10 billion organization with more than 60 million active users globally, and pretty big in the US. And so we're building a wellness cafe, which is a HIPAA-compliant health chain. This was not, at this scale, this was not possible to build on a private blockchain. It would have been very costly. So we're bringing 6,000 plus different centers, which are running different IT architectures, different legacy IT systems, to quickly sync with each other using blockchain. And there's so many benefits that come with that. We're working with a US-based leader in RWA tokenization, Zonix, which is also working with Ripple and Hedera. And we will be launching, commercial real estate tokens pretty soon on Rubix. So I think that space is going to take off. We're pretty excited about that. We're pretty early in this whole game. Similarly, we have some very interesting use cases in telecom, like spectrum sharing, tokenization of spectrum. I think the Rubix community is pioneering data apps. I think data is a huge thing which the blockchains have overlooked. And so, tokenization of data, insights, how to brand share each other insights without revealing their user information, without compromising PII, still be regulatory-wise compliant. And this is, I think eventually the entire ad tech and marketing tech markets will be disrupted by these applications. So, essentially the whole idea is to bring a lot of Web2 applications to Web3 to achieve cost savings. And we're looking at actually the entire concept of accounting, ERP will change. some of the applications being built in Rubix right now are talking about using data settlement at layer one, pretty much doing away the need for the data, the accounting, the way accounting is done right now. Information asymmetry is a big problem. You only have bonds and equities in capital markets, either people taking full risk or no risk, because you don't trust third parties accounting. Now, if all the data is on chain, if an enterprise is settling everything on chain, you have much better information symmetry, and therefore there's a wide range of possibilities in the way capital structures can be done. And I think this will grow the entire capital markets probably much bigger than 10x, and people are not appreciating. So our apps are already doing that. And I think a lot of enterprises are excited about. We're working on a stable coin, or communities in the US, where brands can use their loyalties to make payment to each other. For example, you can use a Starbucks loyalty to pay for Nike shoes, and vice versa. And imagine if thousands of companies are sharing in the same network, and their customers are able to use branded loyalties, which is like stablecoin, which is backed by the sovereignty of the organization issuing it. We're talking about a payment network which is huge and which is ultra low cost, and that would change the way I think banking and payments are done.
So what do you think, what's the future of crypto payments?
I think crypto is going to be the future of payments. Let's put it that way. We're already seeing acceleration of stable coins. And I just talked about a settlement payment system, which is like a barter pay. I mean, imagine people were barter trading before banking came through, and then banking kind of centralized it, how these settlements are done. So crypto makes it possible for peer-to-peer settlements between businesses, between users. It's not just for individuals transferring money. It's for businesses settling, organizations, enterprises settling with their suppliers, with their vendors, with their customers. And so I think the revolution is going to be much bigger than people are thinking.
And as well, you talked that you work with different enterprises in the US. Can you tell us well about some of your other international collaborations, and in which regions do you see the biggest blockchain and crypto adoption?
I think currently US is where we're going to see a ton of activity, things changing so rapidly for the good. Parts of Asia, we're seeing a lot of application development in India. We've got some exciting apps being built in Rubix right now in the areas like data, telecom, and similarly Southeast Asia, I think, we're seeing a lot of activity around sustainability applications. North Asia and the Middle East, where UAE and other parts of GCC region, I think there's a lot of excitement about real estate tokenization and other projects.
And as well, currently we have pro-crypto President Trump in the US, and he made a bold claim that he would make Bitcoin a reserve currency. So do you think it will be really implemented and Bitcoin will be adopted as reserve currency?
I think my feeling is they would have reserves including Bitcoin and other cryptos as well. And they've been saying about US cryptos, so we will have to see the finer definitions of that. I think they're going to do that for various reasons. One is that, a macro, they do need to refinance $9.5 trillion of, treasuries this year alone. And so crypto is a great way to achieve at least part of that. The other way is to obviously print more currency. So I think from a macro perspective, there's an imperative for them to do. But also they realize that there's a whole lot of positive benefits that come from doing so. And I think they might be implementing without announcing some sort of reserve collection already. I think they're being far smarter than what we think. I think they're already building some reserves, through probably different structures before it becomes a law, kind of warehousing probably. But we've got other currencies doing as well. I mean, we've got likes of Bhutan announcing, and it's very refreshing to see. I think more and more countries, we've got Malaysian Prime Minister talking about building reserves. We've got Thailand, government Prime Minister talking about it. So I think it would happen. There are lots of benefits of doing so.
And what about India? India has been quite restrictive to cryptocurrency, for example. And what are your thoughts if US will adopt Bitcoin as a reserve currency? Will the stance of other countries change?
I think so. I think so because a part of the global restrictive stance was because of the US, because the current banking system is heavily channelized through the US, the SWIFT settlement system. So a change in US stance would definitely help, change in stance, regulatory stances across countries. With specific to India, I think they've always maintained that they would have a G20 consensus on this. And I think it'll be interesting to see this year with the US making a huge move and a few other countries, what would be, the stance of India. We'll have to see.
And how will that impact the markets, both for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency overall?
I think, with most of the interesting thing is we don't have a lot of serious research in crypto space, unlike you have for traditional assets. And there are various reasons for that. The kind of capital which has been in crypto is not really very, very long term. You got obviously the hodl in each currency, you got hardcore hodlers, but there's a lot of speculative flows as well. With nation states coming in, with corporates bidding, a lot of corporates are buying Bitcoin now. With corporates getting in, they would look at fundamentals, they would look at sustainability, they would look at the economics of these protocols, they would look at tokenomics, so where Bitcoin does well. Rubik's RBT token is also has very strong tokenomics. So they will look at the scarcity element, they would look at the utility element, they would look at the economic impact of that. So we're going to see improvement in quality of research. A lot of traditional bankers adopting crypto research and crypto investment banking. New leaders emerge. There will be more what I would call flight to quality. But given so much liquidity, you would always have meme coins being hot. You can't take away. But I think quality, utility would come back very strong this year. That's what I would think.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see what will unfold. And you mentioned meme coins. So what are your thoughts on meme coins, especially after Trump and his wife launching their own meme coins? Will it still have the future, or will we shift to some other trends?
I think meme coins rose to fame. My opinion is that we've had restrictive regulatory environment in the US. So you couldn't really launch tokens of anything which is underlying value because they were treated as securities and there was no clear regulation about it. So money channeled to meme coins. Meme coins have already been popular much before the Trump coin. That trend continues because there's so much excess liquidity. If there is more monetary easing, there is more liquidity around the world. So meme coins will always be there depending on who's launching it. But the capital moves pretty quickly between meme coins. So sustainability is a challenge, but meme coins will always be hot. And I think from what I understood about Trump coin and such coins, they're actually accumulated capital and they have much better long-term plans to build on top of that. So it really differs from meme coin to meme coin, I think. Who's doing it? What's their motives? Are they building some sustained products on back of that? Or they just go up and down kind of products?
Were there any meme coins launched on Rubik's network?
So meme coins can be launched on Rubik's, but our current focus is to demonstrate that startups, businesses, enterprises can raise capital. Much like meme coins are able to raise capital, now the regulatory environment is getting better. So you can actually launch at layer 1 coins with your tokenomics and build. So we've got Tri token, which is a first comprehensive AI decentralized marketplace. The Tri coin is launched on top of Rubik's. Similarly, the other coins being launched. So nothing stops meme coins being launched on Rubix because it's an open network. Having said that, I think we want to see, we'll be excited if real capital formation happens on blockchains, including on Rubix, where a lot of startups actually raise capital here, AI startups and otherwise, and trade and then settle. We see a lot of capital markets moving on crypto, so that's where Rubix is going to play a very large role. Rubik's community.
Can you tell more about this Try Network, verifiable AI marketplace? How does it work? What's the idea behind it?
So the idea is to bring basically the three key elements of AI, which is machines, models, and data, on a single marketplace. We haven't had that. I know there are some pretty good AI coins which have been doing well, but none have looked at data. And if you look at all the excitement and concern around the DeepSeek model, AI being commoditized, models being commoditized, we need to find a way how data is monetized, how models are monetized, and I think crypto will be essential for success of AI because everything becomes commoditized. But then how do you monetize this in a scenario where you don't have centralized modes, big modes don't exist. And so Try Marketplace is bringing all these three elements of AI together. Pretty much AI startups are going to come and launch their own coins on top of Try, like you issue equity shares, they come and launch, and they either are collaborators building models, are they providing compute, but more importantly, these are enterprises, large enterprises, these are small and medium enterprise, everybody has data. They come up and put their data without compromising on the privacy of the data. They will let models be trained on them. And this is pretty unique to how Rubik's architecture works, because we already have applications where enterprises are able to run applications on top without revealing the PII data. So the privacy has been a big issue with public blockchains, and that is being addressed in the Rubik's. So we're talking about large number of enterprises, organizations monetizing their data, and even end users as well. So this is essentially where value will be created for AI.
And is it already operational or is it still in the stealth mode?
It just launched, so we're going to see some startups join this over the next few weeks. We're already in the AI space. They're already providing solutions, working on projects on top of LLMs. So they're going to come on board. We're getting some enterprises to put up their data subnets as well. And the good thing is to set up a subnet and try, it costs very little. Okay, so it's horizontally ultra scalable. So we're going to see a lot of acceleration, and with what's happening around the noise around the DeepSeek and etc., I think the need for crypto in AI is much more now than it was a week ago, and I think it's quite exciting.
So what's the process for onboarding? How can one sign up for it?
You can just set up a subnet, and basically all you need is the Try tokens. Other than that, you can set up subnet. Everything is open source. Depending on where your data provider, you just come up, set up. You just download the Try node on your existing DB. You don't need to move your data anywhere, and you're already on the Try network. And so using smart contracts, you already enter into commercial agreements using Try networks. So it's pretty open that way.
And what is the timeline for the launch of Try network, Try tokens?
So the Try tokens, our plan is to get them listed over the next 3 months through various large exchanges. And depending on how it is done, there could be capital raising in that process to provide liquidity for the marketplace.
And as well, what other use cases for the combination of crypto and AI do you see?
The many use cases. So, for example, We've got some community member in the US mentioning that, they have certain IP, which they're currently AI IP, which they're currently selling enterprises, and it's customized to one enterprise. And instead, they're thinking that, look, hey, can we put it on a subnet on the Tri network, and we're going to now tweak it and customize for anyone who comes. And this is all tried in smart contracts. So certainly the addressable market for this particular solution goes up significantly. And you can prove on chain that this particular customized version is for this user and vice versa client. So that's so we're going to see a lot of IP being monetized on this now. I've come across various interesting AI projects which are built on LLMs. They're customer specific apps in different sectors, and they can just increase their addressable market globally significantly by being on the Tri network. And so, I was speaking to a photography application, and just they can just grow, I think, their marketplace, their reach by a huge amount on this. So it's just, I think the fundamental thing is valuing data was missing in AI, and that'll come up, and valuing skills as well. So that's what we're going to see.
And there are as well a lot of talks and hype around AI agents, and so many companies are launching AI agents. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's so much liquidity in the market. AI agents has been hot, so there's money going. But yeah, so with the proliferation of LLMs becoming cheaper, agents is going to proliferate. There will be, I think, billions, trillions of agents down the line. We've got Coinbase telling that 1 million tokens were launched last week, and it's crazy. A lot of them are AI agents. It's so easy to launch. They're not blockchains. They're launched on a blockchain. AI agents will be on crypto, on blockchain, and AI agents will be huge. Okay, so it's a bit early to see how they would evolve. What is the value in them? They have a value to customers, but in terms of how do you value those take-home tokens, it's difficult to see. I mean, we're looking at potentially, the subnets on Tri network being populated by AI agents, the subnets on Rubix being populated by AI agents, the tokenomics being decided by agents themselves. So this could go pretty viral. What is the net result of this is difficult to say now. But we could have hundreds of thousands of subnets launched on Rubix by agents. Where does that lead to? We don't know. But these are all possibilities.
And as well, there are already some AI agents which manage portfolio for the users. So what are your thoughts how this may transform the traditional wealth management, asset management, and how will it work if everything will be managed by AI, not humans?
Yeah, so we've had quant asset management before, basically models doing this. But yeah, this is very interesting, and I think they will go that way because their AI agents are able to get access to data much faster over the internet. They will scrape much faster what's going on, what's trending new. So they will be more efficient and quick in capturing trends and trading. So they will become big. But would they all converge into making same bets? And when you make same bets, your ability to make returns could be less unless you're on a momentum cycle. So I think the jury is out, but I think, yes, you would have tons of agents doing this. There's no doubt about it. And yeah.
So who will be the winner if all those AI agents are right? Somebody should lose still on the market.
I think the general observation is that would make most human decision makers less valuable. That's an obvious trend. That's a broader economic trend. What are the implications of that? Good and bad, we need to see. I think it's difficult to model. We may need AI agents to model how AI agents will change things. It's going to be crazy, I think. But what we can say is that a lot of agentic activity will be on blockchains. Because if they're all automatic agents, already there's a serious question in cybersecurity about how do agents authenticate to each other. because current identity access management, security, architectures don't handle bots very well. So if we're going to have lots of agents proliferating, they need to figure out a way of shaking hands with each other, setting up authentication protocols, and this is a security nightmare. So I think that can be solved much better on a blockchain like Rubik's by setting up blockchain IDs. But this is an area we need to look into that.
Yeah, so you're mentioning digital identities. So I understand that you empower the vision of Web5, as Jack Dorsey said. So can you tell more how Rubix can change industries with decentralized identity and as well with the data control?
I think all identity should be decentralized, and some of the big issues in centralized identity systems today can be solved by doing that. And there's some interesting work by the Rubik's core team as well as community on this side already. We've got lots of enterprises setting up Rubik's identities. I think decentralization of identities is very important going forward. It will change a number of things, and even before the agents and bots. I think this is very important because we have lots of information about each individual, each entity everywhere, and they're all tied to different identities. And so being able to tie to a blockchain identity at layer one will be very valuable. And I think digital identity is the foundational block of layer one. If you see Rubik's, first comes identity and then everything else. So without that, because I'm also founder at a cybersecurity company, and I've appreciated that without proper security identity background, blockchains will struggle. And so it's a foundational element of blockchains.
And there are currently as well talks about the future of quantum computing and that blockchains are not quantum computing resistant yet. So how do you see the development in that area?
Yeah, I think the conventional wisdom, which I kind of subscribe to, is that we're still about a decade or 2-3 decades away from, the hashing, the SHA-2 or SHA-3, which we use, and also the latest cryptography used in various blockchains, including Bitcoin. It'll be about 1 to 3 decades before they're compromised. And I think we're not there immediately yet. But this is something which everybody is working towards. The current NIST-based post-quantum algorithms, they're already there. They're not, I think, scalable for, let alone blockchain, even regular banking and other transactions. And I think you already have lattice-based cryptography, which is post-quantum resistant currently. But in its full form, it's not scalable. So we need to find something probably in 10 to 30 years window, but it's not an immediate concern. And I think blockchains will adopt to latest algorithms before it's a threat.
Yeah, so that's good. We are safe now. And as well, let's discuss more the current state of the market. How do you see the current market, and for how long this bull market lasts, in your opinion?
I think the real fundamental bull market in crypto has started now. The past cycles have been based on Bitcoin economics or short-term events. The real adoption is only starting now in multiple sectors. And therefore, we're on a more structural bull market, which I believe will last for a decade and beyond. And so crypto, public blockchains, and their benefits are very little appreciated by rest of the non-crypto people right now. And they will begin to. I think this is the year that will happen. The one event which we cannot model now is that the general economy globally is not in good shape. And there could be a Six Sigma or a Black Swan event globally in the economy this year or next year. And so if that happens, non-crypto assets could be hurt badly. And would there be a collateral damage to crypto digital assets? Probably. But the scenario is actually very bullish for crypto. If there is another QE, if there is another sharp rate cuts around the world, it's actually the best scenario for, it's the best advertisement for, digital assets. How Bitcoin started in 2009. But it's very difficult to model in the short term, but in the long run, I think we've started a much bigger, better bull market.
Yeah, I agree with you. And as well, do you invest into any altcoins?
Yeah, I think I'm more looking at infrastructure plays. I think there are a few infrastructure plays which are running better blockchains, and the serious work is happening. So there are about 5 to 6 altcoins, which for me are layer one protocols, or some app tokens are very good. Rest is rest of the meme coins is anybody's guess. I mean, I don't have a competitive advantage, so it's just how quickly things move.
And do you have any investment strategy when to fix your profits?
No, from Rubik's, we are building for long term. We think, there was a New York Times article in 2022 which talked about missing productivity in the U.S. Since 2004. So according to them, a lot of productivity happened in 90s and until 2004, and since 2004, for almost 20 years before the Gen AI, productivity did not increase, and this is yet a period where we've had mobile phone, smartphone revolution, iPhones came up, cloud, SaaS, you name what. But despite so much, technology progress and huge investments in these spaces, the productivity did not increase because a lot of this technology change was front end. The backends did not change. The ERP did not change. The backend, the banking backends did not change. We've got neobanks, but the core banking infrastructure is the same. And so accounting did not change. A lot of things did not change. And that is what is going to change now. There's a need to change now, and that's what is going to change. And that is where crypto and blockchain is going to be fundamentally different.
And as well, can you share some upcoming plans for Rubik's network? What's next for you?
Yeah, I think so. We've got huge adoption in the US, so it's a key market. And we're going to accelerate, more applications being built on top of Rubik's. There's some very interesting applications which are being, built in Rubik's on top of what we've discussed already. It's just that we want to make Rubik's as a top 10 protocol over the next 3 years, and we want to migrate a lot of Web 2 apps onto Web 3, and that's basically bringing billions of users. The architecture already allows for huge scalability horizontally at extremely low cost, and so therefore it's just about evangelizing and bringing more users to onboard. And one key point is Bitcoin is scarcity and very well established and proven. Rubik's RBT, our token, is scarcity and utility. We talked about a lot of utility, but this is all possible with a maximum supply of 51.4 million tokens. And that's a key figure. We have 10 million tokens totally mined by everyone. Doubling this would take at least 22 years. And so 51.4 max with a long tail. So that is how we want the community and apps to build value together. And that helps to sustain the security of the network.
That's great. And as well, what is needed for the mass adoption, in your opinion? How can we bring those billions of users into blockchain and crypto?
Yeah, I mean, acquisition of users is always a challenge, Web 2 or Web 3. We are always looking for, the first thing is passionate app builders, partners, and then them going after building this. And I think that's the best way if you find them. And we have some of them already building on top. The second is, I know, as I mentioned, we are looking at Web 2 apps, enterprises onboarding. That will bring users much faster. The third way is typically blockchains have been focusing so far, which is obviously airdrops, community events, hackathons, and a lot of marketing spend, influencers and KOLs, and there's tons of ways they've been doing this to do that, and we will do that as well. But I think for us, we need to get real world adoption. There are a lot of skeptics of crypto and blockchain. Um, you know, in fact, it's common for many people outside of crypto say blockchain is a solution looking for a problem, and even now there are people saying that. We actually believe otherwise, and we need to make them see that this is not the case. Why they need this, and this tech is ready. I think the tech is ready now. It wasn't ready earlier. So we need to make blockchains work the way apps and users want to do. We don't need to tell them the problem is being, we are telling them how to do. That's not going to happen. So that attitude change will bring a huge amount of users. I'll tell you a simple UX hack, which blockchains either ignored or cannot do in the past, which is that when you're running on any monolithic blockchain, every app pays fees to third-party validators. And the third-party validators do not really care what app it is. So they're going to pick the app which pays the highest fees. And the other problem is, think of an air miles use case or any loyalty use case, which is a great real-world use case. A user who's a more high-frequency user of air miles or any product, they pay the same per unit price as a low frequency user. And this doesn't happen in the real world. In the real world, we have a slab-based pricing where users is incentivized. If you fly more in Emirates, you get some benefits. You have slab-based pricing, tiered pricing model. That's not possible. So we need to make that possible. And Rubix, we made that possible. So apps are happy, oh, we don't need to change our business models. We don't need to, really, twist ourselves to adopt blockchain. And when that happens, adoption grows. So I think this is the year adoption grows. Of course, you do need regulators, accepting that as well. We're seeing that in some. I think the change in the US is, very, very helpful in that aspect. But I think regulators need to understand that crypto can help the GDP grow by a multiple over the next 2 decades if they adopt. Because it's really P2P growth. P2P is always much faster economically than centralized models.
Yes, that's true. Is there anything else you would like to add?
I think you've covered most of the aspects, and I think Rubik's community is pretty excited about they want to build much faster than they are doing right now, and I think this year is going to be a great year for crypto in general and for Rubik's community.
Yes, thank you for such exciting conversation, and hope to see more updates and partnerships of Rubik's on your way for the mass adoption and bringing more people and as well companies, enterprises on blockchain and into Web3.
Thank you so much, Anna. Those were very insightful questions, and I enjoyed our conversation.